Ted, William Shatner is going to make an appearance for the company in early January and will manhandle both Jerry Lawler and the roadie Brian Armstrong, who had just debuted with the company. There are also reports that Shatner was a stuck-up asshole backstage. Ted, did you get to meet William Shatner during this time?
I did not meet William Shatner then, and later when I would see him at Comic Cons, and he would be like one of the featured guys, for autograph signing, William Shatner,
Hmm.
and yeah, he was pretty much a stuck up asshole.
I've heard that from a few people. Some people, like I guess Jim Duggan and his wife Deborah, have had really good experiences with William Shatner. So maybe it just depends on what day you catch him on.
Yeah, it may have been, because but because again, I never walked up and said hello to him or anything because most of the time, he was, I don't, he was, he was kind of like, there's a certain way I act when I don't want to be bothered.
Hmm.
And, but it's not all the time. With him, it seemed like it was all the time. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Uh, anyway,
And so
so
he just always had that aura. Stay away
yeah,
from me. So Ted, you and I have talked about celebrities in wrestling before, and how like it's okay for the boys to kind of get bumped around by a celebrity. It's really for the crowd's benefit. It's like, oh, cool, this guy. We talked about Chuck Norris coming out and super kicking Jeff Jarrett. It's like,
yeah,
that's a cool moment for the fans.
yeah, yeah.
However, at this time, William Shatner is 64 years old, and he's getting the better of a couple of active wrestlers. Lawler was still wrestling at this time, and obviously Brian Armstrong is going to go on to become the Road Dogg. So he's still active. I don't know. What do you think of a 64-year-old William Shatner kind of getting the better physically of a couple of wrestlers?
Well, everybody's got a price.
You just got to do what the boss says, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you do. But I mean, sometimes those things can be good for your business, and sometimes they can hurt it. So I don't know.
I don't know that taking some bumps for William Shatner is necessarily going to hurt you, but I know that if I was a wrestler and I was on TV and they said, "Hey, Shatner's gonna, shit can you over the top rope after beating your ass," I'd be like, "Are you sure? Sure you want to
Yeah,
do that?"
yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's also worth noting that Shatner is involved during a match between Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett on Raw. And at this time, Jeff Jarrett is on the rise big time. He's one of the hottest heels in the WWF during this time. And Jeff is, of course, the son of legendary promoter Jerry Jarrett, very, very polished worker. And at the Royal Rumble, he's going to defeat Razor Ramon to become the Intercontinental Champion for the first time. And Ted, as we're recording this, Double J was just on TV last night with AEW and announced that he has signed his final talent contract with the company. He's still active right now at 57 years old. He looks great. He's still a polished in-ring wrestler. So, Ted, I say all that about Jeff Jarrett to say, what did you think of Jeff Jarrett as a performer and as a man?
Hey, I never had a problem with Jeff. I mean, and he was, and obviously, God bless him if he's, how old is he now? 56?
57 years old, and let's pull up his
57 years
picture
old
again.
and still going. And is that a recent picture? Because if it
Yeah.
is, he looked pretty dang good.
Yeah, he's in phenomenal shape. A lot of people say he's in better shape now than he was during his WWF days. So whatever Jeff is doing, he's got to keep doing it. But man, just like what an incredible talent. And it really, again, you always talk about the second generation wrestlers. That's Jeff. He's actually a third generation wrestler. His
Yeah.
grandmother, Christine Jarrett, was a promoter.
Wow. Yeah. Well, God bless him.
I'm
I
happy.
never, I never had any problems with Jeff. I didn't. He wasn't one of those guys that everybody shunned. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I don't know, some guys, and I can't think of one right now, but like, oh, my dad's the promoter.
Right.
You got to treat me nice. No, he was a normal guy.